I think we still have a few more yogi to come. Only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, I noticed that there has a 14 yogi register to our retreat. But let's see.
Very well. I think we can start. And those
Thank you, Bhante, for coming.
Yes, hello everyone. We can start, and those who come later can watch the recording again. The recording will not be. It can. I think it's better maybe if we like live stream it into a private into.
Bhante, we can not hear you.
You cannot hear me? And Manviana, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Now you can hear me as well? Very well. So I'm wondering if we would stream these recordings. We can, because there are two things. One thing is my explanations, where you don't really talk much except maybe asking a question, and second are your meditation interviews, which we always keep private. So we can live stream my explanations, and then whenever we have our session for a private interview or a group interview, that would not be broadcasted. So I would like to ask Manvi to turn on the broadcast, because I will be providing the explanations.
So are we going to live on Facebook or? Okay. I think Masu is organizer, so she can help us to go for a live stream on the Facebook. Yeah.
Okay, I will do it.
So we are starting our 10-day retreat. There are many rules and many things to discuss. Number one thing is that there is a requirement to do this retreat, and that is to meditate at least 6 hours a day. If you meditate 5 hours or 5 hours 30 minutes or 5 hours 59 minutes, that's not enough. You need to be at least 6 hours a day. And it must be at least 8 out of those 10 days. So if you miss 1 day, it's okay. If you miss 2 days, it's actually okay. But if you miss the 3rd day, then you're disqualified from the retreat, and you would have to follow another retreat in the future. All right. So 6 hours of meditation is very important. You can meditate in sitting, in walking. You can meditate on the chair. There are rules for meditation on sitting, walking, and on the chair. You cannot just say, well, I was at work and I was working 8 hours, so maybe that's fulfilled. Not at all. You need to fulfill those rules. You need to follow the instruction during the practice. And only the 6 hours of following the instructions will make you eligible for meditation interview. Because you're not that many, we will have interview in group. That also helps, because you will gradually learn what I actually expect as gradually I get to you. So then you can peacefully reply and you know what's going on. If you, for example, do 5 hours, 30 minutes, and we have our interview, you can come for the interview 30 minutes later with your 6 hours complete, rather than coming at 5:30, having 5 hours, 30 minutes finished, and then failing a day. And I will not give you interview anyway if you do not have 6 hours complete. All right. I will just say, well, you did not finish 6 hours, so there is no interview today. Good luck tomorrow. Then the 6 hours is of utmost importance. You can meditate also 8, 10, or more, depends on you, but 6 is the minimum. Always meditate maximum 60 minutes. Never meditate more than 60 minutes for meditation. If you meditate 90 minutes or 120 minutes, I may actually not consider that meditation session into your meditation time, because the instruction is that you do not meditate more than 60 minutes in one posture. Therefore, you need to follow that. All right. This is for psychological reasons. Some people have weird problems when they meditate more than 60 minutes. So that's where we keep the limit. And you can meditate any other time. You can meditate 50 minutes, 40, 30, you can meditate 35, 23 minutes, whatever is the time you want to meditate is fine, but write it down, okay? You need to write down the time you started your meditation session, when you finished it, and then when 10 minutes before we meet here, you need to fill in a form. And in that form, you write how many hours did you meditate, what kind of practice did you follow, and so on, so that during our interview, I do not need to ask you those things, and I can directly, I may actually ask you anyway, but I need to have it written so that I'm sure that you know the time you meditated, so you don't tell me when I ask you during interviews, so how many hours did you sit in meditation? And you say, oh, I don't know, I didn't count that. You see, that should never happen. That should never happen. Mindfulness, okay? Mindfulness. You need to know what you do and how you do that, all right? You can tell me, I don't know, if I ask you a Dhamma question, all right? If I ask you, how old was Mahamaya when she gave birth to the Buddha to be? Yeah, you can say, I don't know for that question, okay? But you cannot say, if I ask you, so what is your determination in the beginning of every sitting and walking meditation that you did today? You cannot say, I don't know, all right? That's not possible. You need to know what you did. It's basic mindfulness. And you also need to know how many hours did you meditate in sitting and walking. So always write down sitting meditation. I suggest that you have a small paper where you write the starting time, ending time, and the posture. So then when you're filling the form, you can easily count up those minutes, and you write, for example, 300 minutes sitting, 60 minutes walking. That's what I want to know. The form will ask you about your sitting time and your walking time. So you need to know it precisely in your minutes. All right. During this retreat, you will be practicing 4 techniques. Or we can say 4 main techniques. One is meditation on muscles, then loving kindness. You will meditate on repulsiveness of the body, and you will also observe the mind. The first 2 days, you will be developing peace through meditation on muscles. Then you have 4 days to develop loving kindness. Then you have 2 days to observe the repulsiveness of the body or the body. And then you have another 2 days to observe the mind. You can take this meditation retreat as rather an introduction to a longer retreat, 30-day or 49-day retreat. All right. During our meetings, there's one rule that you need to have camera on. Okay, you cannot just come and have your camera off. I want to see everybody. I want to know that you're in your camera. I see here we have Venerable Rahula. You will need to have your camera on, Venerable. Always. And if you do not have your camera on, you can also simply not come and then watch the recording. All right. And then as you watch the recording, that would be only for the meeting and the interview. The interview with others is not recorded, but you will need to arrange with me your interview time when we meet live. But you can actually watch this meeting as a recording. So if you don't make it to this meeting, it's actually not a problem. Okay, what is the problem is if you do not meditate 6 hours a day. That is a problem. And you need to do the interview. You need to do the interview at latest 24 hours from the meeting that's related to that day. So you can be even up to 24 hours late for your interview. Okay, but you need to fulfill your 6 hours. That is what matters. All the other things are either not important or secondary. First of all, now we need to talk about our ethics. So I require that during meditation retreat, you follow 8 precepts. You can follow 5 precepts if you have some serious reason. For example, your husband doesn't allow you to follow 8 precepts, or you're ill, or you're pregnant, or something else. But I expect that everybody will follow 8 precepts unless you have some serious reason for that. If you're a monk or a novice, then of course you follow monks, novices rules, but the lay people need to follow 8 precepts. Number 1, you do not kill any living beings. Number 2, you do not steal anything. Number 3, you do not engage in any sexual activity. Now here we are talking specifically about sex, nothing else. Number 4, you do not tell lies. Number 5, you don't drink alcohol or take any drugs. Number 6, you eat only between the dawn and midday. So when the dawn is, when you can see light outside, that's the time you can have your breakfast. Before the midday, before the sun is above your head, which for the US is usually 1 p.m. For Asia is usually about something 11:45, especially these days. It could be something about 11:40, 11:45, so be careful. So you need to finish your meal before then. And at night, in the evening, you can have fresh fruit juice. If you are ill, you can also have honey, butter, ghee, oil, sugar. You can also take medicine, that's fine. It will be a little problem if you have diabetes. And with diabetes and medicine, it's a little complicated. In Myanmar, it is accepted that you can have also bird's nests in the evening as a medicine. So that was the 6th rule. 7th rule has 2 parts. One part is related to entertainment. So when you follow 8 precepts, you should not sing, dance, or watch funny performances. You also should not listen to music, or watch dance, or engage in funny performances. Second part is about self-embellishment or making oneself beautiful, or yes, could be. And that includes not using any flowers, any perfumes, any ointments, things that you apply on your skin, such as the powder. And then any jewelry, any garlands, that means flowers on your head and things, and anywhere else. Then anything else that could make your body more beautiful. So we want to accept the body the way it is, hence we do not use any cosmetics or any jewelry or anything like that. So if you have any earrings, if you have any piercing, if you have any necklaces and so on, it is necessary that you remove that. You can wear glasses, that's okay. I also accept wedding rings, because I believe they have rather a social reason, but everything else needs to be removed. So this was the 7th rule. 8th rule is that you do not sleep on luxurious beds. It's specifically related to high and large beds. You can sleep right on the floor, but that may be a little dangerous. So you can take a mat, you can sleep on a mat. That's the second option. And third option, you can sleep on a bed of which legs are not higher than 13 inches. So if your bed has just a few inches, let's say 4 or 5 inches in its legs, it's totally fine. As a mat, you can use a bamboo mat, or you can use a mat like here in Vietnam. They use this kind of mat made of small little wooden pieces. So a mat like this is totally fine for sleeping. You can use a pillow and blanket, that's all fine. All right, so that's for the 8 precepts. And you need to follow the 8 precepts throughout this retreat. So there will be days when I give you 8 precepts, and there will be days when I do not give you 8 precepts. That will depend on our situation and time. But the aim is that you will receive always 8 precepts, and you will recite them, and you will follow them very carefully. The 8 precepts will support you in your practice. So I will let you think about the 8 precepts until tomorrow. And if you have any problems, you will need to send me an email to monksaranna@gmail.com. And we will resolve it separately. So if you now think, oh, I cannot follow this rule, oh, I cannot follow that rule, well, then just send me an email and we will resolve it separately. All right? Because different people have different needs, and we are in fact pressed by time, at least today. Tomorrow it probably will be a little freer. Yes, then we have it much easier, but today we're pressed. Okay, now what's coming is the meditation instruction. So far, what I've said is clear. Anybody has any question, concerns, suggestions? Everything is fine. So we will be looking at meditation. So you can meditate in on the floor, on a chair.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So in terms of the no self embellishment, how about lotions with no perfumes? But usually we apply it after showering.
Depends on whether you use it for beauty or for health. If it's for health, then it's fine.
Thank you.
Are lotions used for health or well, yeah? Okay.
Yes, because it's still a little bit cold here, so if we don't put lotion, we get like skin. It makes the skin irritated.
You get it right. There's okay, very good. Meditation instruction. It's actually very easy. Most of you or all of you have already seen my meditation instruction on a basic meditation instruction on loving kindness. I would like to know if there's anyone who hasn't. So, so I will ask you, those who have seen the meditation instruction on loving kindness, can you please raise your Zoom hand? You'll always be using Zoom hand. So do you know what's a Zoom hand? Zoom hand is the hand that you can make appear next to your video. You would have to click on reactions, here react, and there you select raise hand, and this is how you raise hand. So let's see if you can do that. So those of you who have ever meditated on loving kindness or on muscles with me, please raise your Zoom hand. The Zoom hand disappears after some time, so be careful about that. Elaine, I think you did meditate with me on muscles before, so can you raise your Zoom hand? And Imye, have you ever meditated with me on muscles? No, not yet. Mao, not yet. And Venerable Rahula, so you never meditated with me? You never attended any meditation with me?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so that's what we have. I would like to ask the organizer to remove the Zoom hands, and I will therefore introduce you to the practice. This practice is very simple. but it may look to you very complicated. So now your task is to understand, why is it simple? Is it simple because it's just one round, and then that round repeats again and again and again and again and again and again and again, all of those 6 hours in sitting on the chair and in walking as well. Your sitting instruction and your walking instruction is exactly the same. I'll repeat it again. Everything that you do in sitting, you do it exactly the same in walking. Everything that you do in walking, you do exactly the same in sitting. Okay, so you will not be concentrated on moving of your feet during walking. No, not at all. Okay, and you will also not be meditating on breath, not at all, throughout these 10 days of retreat. So we will not be concentrated on movement of our feet during walking, not at all, not even a second. We will not be concentrated on our breath, not at all, throughout the 10 days, even a second. Well, there will be a very special case, but that you will understand later. So now you need to first have clarity about your posture. What will be your meditation posture? And the best meditation posture for meditation is the one that's comfortable to you. You need to choose the one that works for you. The correct posture is one of the so-called suitable things that need to be found, that need to be realized, and that need to be followed so that your meditation progresses well. There are different options, and I will show you some of them right away. But there is also a posture that you cannot sit in. And actually, I have today realized that there is a second one. Previously, I would teach just one. So there are two meditation postures, two postures into which you do not have to sit at all during this retreat. And I would like to recommend that you don't use them. One of them is the so-called tailor's posture. In tailor's posture, you keep one calf on the toes of the other leg and another calf on the heel of the other leg. So this is the tailor's posture, and this is not allowed for this retreat for meditation. You can speak in it, read in it, eat in it, whatever you want, but not meditation. Okay? Why is that? Because it's a common posture, and we need to have a special posture for meditation. So we don't use tailor's posture, which is so common. Instead, we use something special. For example, we can meditate in the so-called Burmese posture. In fact, there is nothing Burmese in this posture. It's just that only the Burmese people follow what is written in the Pali texts. And in the Pali texts, we have this posture where you have thighs, knees, calves, and the feet all on the floor. This is the posture recommended by the ancient masters. Only the Burmese are enough humble to follow what masters say. Hence, it's called the Burmese posture. But it's actually the explanation coming from Sri Lanka. Then we have another posture, and that is this one. Some people call it Sukhasana, whatever you want to call it. The main point is that the foot is between the thigh and the calf. All right. A wrong posture, a wrong kind, is the squeezed foot posture, as I call it. So no, this is big no. We gently place the foot between the thigh and the calf. That is the comfortable posture, or Sukhasana. Another one is, if you want, you can keep the foot on the thigh like this. In that case, your big toe needs to be popping out under the somewhere under the calf. All right. In that case, you have your half lotus posture. If you want to sit in a lotus posture, be careful. For lotus posture, there is a requirement. Lotus posture is allowed only if both knees happen to rest on the floor. Okay, so when you take your fingers and you go like this, then there should be no way how you can go through. Mostly, however, the knee levitates above the floor, so you can easily go through. And in that case, that means you have too much pressure over here, and that could be unhealthy for you, so we don't want that. So that's not allowed, okay? But I know some people, they can actually sit in such a way that their knee really touches the floor, and for them, this is fine. Another posture that you can choose is the so-called Seiza posture. You can sit like this on your haunches. And this may be painful after some time, so you can take some pillow or several pillows, keep them between the legs, under your bum. Okay, so then you sit on it like this. It's actually very comfortable, and you may be able to sit in it for a long time without any pain at all. Another posture is on a chair. And for that, I would like to ask our organizer if you could show meditation posture on the chair. Yeah. Can you please sit so we see you from the side rather than from front? Can you? Oh, tango unane lebium. Oh, come. Uzenuga chiragola chichinda. Chunene uwi tuabilo yam. Ta ta. So now you can see Suyadana Myai sitting on the chair, keeping both her feet completely placed on the floor. All right, her back is straight. She is touching the back of the chair. So in this case, I would suggest that you go a little further. Now, come on, nene, tango pohman, nene shitumla. So matito. Yes, you should not be touching the back of the chair during meditation on the chair. All right, and the calves and the thighs need to be in 90 degrees. So your knees need to be in the 90 degrees angle, the right angle. The knees need to be further from each other to the width of your hips so that they do not fall in or out. All right. Okay, that's enough for the demonstration. Thank you very much. If you meditate on the chair, that's totally fine. Okay, even if you meditate all of the 6 hours only on the chair, it's totally fine. Okay, if you spend all of the 6 hours only by walking, it's totally fine. If you spend all of the 6 hours only by sitting, it's also fine. If you alternate 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, 1 hour sitting, 1 hour walking, that is also totally fine. If you meditate 2 hours sitting, 4 hours walking, it's fine. Whatever is the proportion that you decide is totally fine. All right. This is possible because you do the same instruction, you do the same method in all of those postures. Therefore, it doesn't really matter what is the posture that you assume, because it matters that you follow the method in that posture in which you assume. And of course, you need to follow the rules of that posture. All right. And we will have here the so-called primary secondary posture. Primary posture is the one where you try to sit as long as you can. So for example, you decide to sit in the Burmese posture. That is most common. Another posture that's very much recommended is the comfortable posture where you keep the foot between the thigh and calf. Now, as you sit in your Burmese posture, let's say you decide for 60 minutes, after 40 minutes, you have their excruciating pain. So what you can do is you can take both of your hands, take the leg, and put the leg next to you. Let's call this as the mermaid's posture. All right. Now, in this mermaid's posture, you should not sit longer than 3 minutes. This is here only to relieve your pain. After, let's say, 1, 2, or 3 minutes, when you feel totally comfortable, you can sit back to exactly the same posture in which you started your practice. So you have always only maximum 2 postures: the primary posture in which you started and the so-called secondary posture. From secondary posture, you return back to your primary posture. Okay, you cannot even like say, okay, well, I did now secondary posture, so now let's actually change my legs or do any other difference. No difference is allowed. Must be very strictly exactly the one in which you started. That's the one where you sit. Numbness in legs is not understood as pain, so do not change your posture if you have numbness. That's okay. Get over that. What you should not do is lifting your knee during meditation. No, we don't do that. Some people lift their knee when they don't have feeling or when they have pain. No, we don't do that. And some people slouch. What is to slouch? Slouch is to curve your back. So we meditate with erect back, and slouching is this. This is called slouching. Some people do this when they have pain in their meditation. Lifting your knee or slouching is not allowed because it's bad for your health. Okay, you may then permanently lose sensitivity in your foot or in your leg. You don't want that, and I don't want that either. So we do not lift the knee, we do not slouch. Instead, we nicely take the leg by both of our hands and we move it next to ourselves to the mermaid's posture. On the chair, if you have some problem, there may be some problem, especially if it's hard. If the chair is hard, you can use as your secondary posture leaning over the back of the chair. So you cannot lean over the back of the chair more than 3 minutes. Then you return back to the erect back posture. Anybody has any question about the posture on the floor and on the chair? No question about that. So we're doing pretty well with time. Okay, I'm very happy about that. Now let's therefore take our 5 minutes illustration or exhibition of how you will be meditating the first day. Now, what is a day? Day is from our meeting, from the start of our meeting until the start of our meeting the next day. That is a day of meditation retreat. That way, we do not need to worry about your time zone. So you need to fulfill 6 hours of meditation between the time we start our meeting here, our Dhamma, meditation instruction meeting, until the start of the next day's meditation instruction meeting. So far, it seems that most of the days, you see, it is highly probable that we will meet happily all of the 10 days at the same time. That means as we met today. So there will be very probably no change at all to this schedule. That's, I think, very special. Usually I make some changes on Saturday, Sunday. This time it went pretty well, probably because I'm in Vietnam and we take it rather for the Asian time zones. But anyway, that's what we have. So it doesn't really matter how many hours do you do in the evening or in the morning or in the afternoon. What matters is how many hours you do between those hour meetings. Okay, so let's say in your time zone, we finish, like if you were in Vietnam, you would finish our meeting perhaps by 6 p.m. Okay, we started by 5 p.m. of Vietnam time. I'm now in Vietnam. Well, then you finish at 6 p.m. You can do 2 hours tonight, and then tomorrow you can do 4 hours of meditation before our meeting at 5 p.m. if you are in Vietnam. So hopefully now you understand it for your time zone. Okay, so now I will ask you, each of you, what is the primary posture that you have decided? I will give them numbers, and you just write for me the number in the chat box. So the first posture, so number 1 is the Burmese posture, number 2 is the easy posture, number 3 is half lotus posture, number 4 is sitting on your hunches. So this will be our number 4, and number 5 is sitting on the chair. So 1, 2, 3 is sitting on the floor, 4 is on hunches, and 5 is on the chair. So you can write for me in the chat box the number that you would like to emphasize in your practice. You can, of course, change it anytime you want, but I want to know which one you have chosen as your principle to try out. So I'm still waiting for some of you. Yes, I'm waiting for Sati and Asoka. Okay, there we have it. All right, I think that's complete. So we can sit in our comfortable meditation posture. We can erect our back. Back needs to be erect. To erect our back, what can help you is to take your rib cage and lift it as high as possible. Okay, the rib cage needs to be as high as possible. Then you can push your shoulders a little back, and all of the upper part of the body can also be pushed a little back. This will gradually adjust during meditation, but if you can remember to do this, that will help you a lot. As for head, we keep the head a little tilted and sent a little back, all right? So we tilt the head and then send it back. If you only tilt it, you may have problem. You may have neck problems. If you don't tilt it, you may have neck problems. So if you tilt the head, but if you also send it back, you probably will have no neck problems. You don't want to have pain in meditation because pain will never be your meditation object during this retreat. Therefore, we don't want to have pain. Okay, so we will meditate with opened eyes. Always throughout this 10-day retreat, we will meditate with opened eyes. We keep our eyes open, but we can blink as much as we want. We can close them if there's pain, if there are tears coming in, or if you're disturbed by insects. We see the floor right in front of us. The way of your setup is that you see the place right in front of you. That's here. And you also need to use clock. You cannot use phone because it's better not to use phone. You will need some meditation clock like iPad. And that clock is good if it can be big. You can keep it by the left side, or by the right side. So you can have it by one side or the other. That depends on you. And as you look in front of you, you can see the clock by changing the angle of your sight and then changing it back. So this is how you can see the clock. Don't use alarm. We don't need it at all because we always just change the angle. We see the clock immediately and then we go back. If you use clock on the phone, the problem is that your screen may turn off when you don't use it for some time. There is some setting possible, but it's better if you can have clock like this. Some of you, if you want to use phone, you may need to download an app. This app is called, believe it or not, Alarm Clock. Now, if you have this app or this clock, again, make sure you don't use alarm, and look at it as many times as you want. You want to know what's the time. Okay, so you just change the angle to see the clock, and then back in front of you. And you can change that as many times as you want. Of course, again, you need to set up your phone or your device so that it doesn't turn off during meditation. The very subtle movement of your eyeballs to see the clock and then back should not disturb you in your concentration. It will probably not disturb you. So you can do it as many times as you want. Of course, I expect that you will gradually reduce it and you will look at the clock as little as possible. And then later, when you master meditation practice, you actually look at the clock only right at the moment when your meditation is supposed to finish. So you decide 60 minutes and you look at the clock one time, and that's exactly after 60 minutes, not after 59, not after 61. Is that a miracle? Is that a psychic power? We call it mastery. Okay, we call it mastery. So this is something where you are gradually moving towards. Now, if you look at the clock 10 times, 50 times during our meditation is totally fine. Just like changing from your primary posture to the secondary, you can change that as many times as you want. You change 10 times, 20 times during each sitting, no problem at all, okay? And again, I would expect that the number of your changing to your secondary posture will gradually reduce. So then you are able to meditate 60 minutes without any movement, without any change to secondary posture. All right, so as we are sitting in a comfortable posture, make sure your back is erect, side cast down, the head is properly tilted and sent back. And we make our first determination. Every meditation practice, every sitting and walking will start by determination. This is of utmost importance. Every determination contains the time, the posture, and the method. Time, posture, method. Time, posture, method. All of these three must be there. What are the three? Time, posture, method. So here we say, from now on for 5 minutes, I will meditate on muscles without any movement. So here from now on for 5 minutes is the time. I will meditate on muscles is the method. Without any movement is the posture, okay? If you are walking, it would be while walking. And you always decide 3 times. So from now on for 5 minutes, I will meditate on muscles without any movement. From now on for 5 minutes, I will meditate on muscles without any movement. And we can gently, lovingly notice there's a flat piece of sinew at the top of the head. It's like a piece of flesh, but but somewhat harder. And we allow that piece of sinew at the top of the head to be heavy, to be changing. We don't expect it to do anything. We don't try to feel it. We don't try to help it in any way. We just allow, okay, so that's the top of the head. And there is some kind of flesh or better sinew, and we allow it to be the way it is. What is it? It has some weight and it changes as the time goes. And we continue accepting change in heaviness in muscles and sinews to the forehead, eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head. We allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the head to be heavy and changing. We continue to the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, we allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy and changing. We continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, we allow all of the muscles and sinews throughout the body to be heavy and changing. And in your case, if you meditate, let's say 30 minutes, 60 minutes, you will do the same round again from the top of the head, forehead, all the way to the tips of the toes, and then again from the top of the head, forehead, and again and again and again and again until the end of your meditation session. Now, because the 5 minutes is gone, we make our last decision. From now on, I will always be calm. From now on, I will always be calm. From now on, I will always be calm. And we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. Then when you change your way of sitting, then you can take another minute observing your peace, but that minute does not count as your meditation time. This change to your secondary posture is very healthy, and it supports your proper regeneration of your nerves so that you can happily practice during this retreat without much pain, without much troubles. All right. So basically, after every sitting posture on the floor, you would move to the mermaid's posture for at least 1 minute to observe your peace. Okay. So this was for the sitting posture. If you do walking, we'll maybe talk about walking later, but you need to find a starting place and end place for your walking. You cannot just walk around the house or whatever like that. You need to have your starting point and ending point, and the starting and ending point need to be at least 10 steps, most 30 steps, maximum 30 steps from each other. So you can, for example, stand at the door and then you walk, let's say 10 steps all the way to your TV or whatever you have. And then that distance, that one path, that's your walking meditation path. So let's say we have the door here, we have the TV here. You stand up at the door and you cast the sight down. You need to see the floor, and you decide from now on for 30 minutes, I will meditate on muscles while walking. From now on for 30 minutes, I will meditate on muscles while walking. From now on for 30 minutes, I will meditate on muscles while walking. And then you start to walk and you consider top of the head, forehead, eyes, nose, and you come to the end. You need to stop for 3 seconds and you say, am I mindful? am I not mindful? Okay, if you're mindful, that's great. If you're not mindful, it's fine anyway, because now you're mindful. Okay, you've got it. Then you, after at least 3 seconds, you turn back and then you walk slowly towards the start and you continue nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head. Again, you stop. Am I mindful? Am I not mindful? And again, you turn back and you continue back of the head, the whole head. And again, am I mindful? Am I not mindful? And this way you go there and back, there and back, there and back. All right. You need to connect your hands either at the chest, or you can fold them like this, or at the back. That's all fine. You can change the place where you have your hands during meditation. I hope it will reduce as you practice. Any question regarding the walking practice or about the muscle concentration, anything? So in meditation practice, in your sitting walking, we recognize the so-called primary object and secondary object. So you have primary posture, secondary posture. Now we are talking about primary object, secondary object. So primary object is the instruction. Okay, so the instruction here is what? Observing or accepting heaviness and change in muscles and sinews. So you get top of the head, consider, okay, I am fine with the heaviness and change there. Forehead, eyes, and then a thought comes. For example, what will I eat tomorrow? Then you realize, oh, wait, I'm actually meditating. You return back to your top of the head. So as soon as you get there, a secondary object like a thought or sound or some feelings like pain or something else, then you need to consider that, okay, that was my secondary object, and you return back to the top of the head. You can stay with your secondary object as long as you want if you do not help it and do not move to another secondary object. So secondary object is anything that's not your primary object. Your primary object is muscles and sinews. As soon as you have there something else, well then, that means that's the secondary object. Now, if you have there a thought, you hear something or pain or and anything else, sometimes it may happen that you just totally forget where you got and you need to start from the beginning, and that's good. So you start from the beginning again and again and again until eventually you will get to the tips of the toes. So I wonder if Satya and Asoka have some camera problem. Everything's okay?
Everything's okay, Banda. Actually, the charge went down. We are connecting to the port.
Okay, that's good. So, Imye? Or
Hello.
Wanye?
Yeah.
How should I read your name?
Ashin Sarana. When you say secondary object, you can stay as long as. What do you mean by that? Like when you realize, should I be stopping it and go back to the primary object?
Can I please know how should I pronounce your name?
Yin. Yin will do. Yeah.
Yin. Because you have there written Y-nye.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah. I think my work setup, I need to change that. Yeah.
I see. Okay. No, it's fine. I think I will remember. Yeah. And so you can stay there as long as it is there if you do not help it, or if you do not take up another secondary object right from this one. So let's say you have there a thought, and the thought is about for example, you have a thought about whether you're thinking about something that you have read about the Buddha. So you are thinking, okay, so there was something about this Buddha, okay, and there's this thought. If you do not help that thought, and the thought just unfolds itself, it's fine. You can stay with it as long as you want. If you help it, then that's wrong. You should not help it. So you immediately realize, oh wait, I'm helping the thought, so I need to go back to the top of the head. Okay. If you have sometimes the thoughts or feelings or things that totally make you forget about the time, it's also fine. As soon as you realize, aha, wait, I'm actually meditating, and you go to the top of the head. But we do not want to force the mind, from the secondary object. We want to be gentle. So if you have their secondary object, you stay with it until it either disappears or becomes uninteresting. Okay, so if the object is still there and it's still interesting, well, then you can watch it. For example, you hear sound. You can continue the sound. No problem. Then when it is uninteresting or when it disappears, you return back to the top of the head. Is it clear?
Yeah. Thank you.
Hema?
So I had one question, that can we listen to your old video instructions while we are meditating?
Not while you meditate. You can listen to it outside the meditation time. Okay, you need to liberate yourself from the instruction and follow through your memory and through your skill.
Okay, and also while this has been in my practice, that while I'm meditating, for sometimes I'm complete blackouts, or else I fall asleep, and then then it takes me a while to come to consciousness. So how do I, or for my current meditation practice, I listen to recorded Vipassana sessions. So during those sessions, I black out sometimes, and then when there's some further instructions, then I get into awareness. Okay, now I have to meditate. So how do I deal with this?
That's natural. It's okay. No need to fight it. But as soon as you notice that you're now meditating, so that's what you decided for, well, then you concentrate back on your meditation. So it's possible that you will, let's say, fall asleep. Let's say you start meditation, you do one cycle, you start then again at the top of the head, forehead, then you fall asleep. You fall asleep for 50 minutes. After 50 minutes, you wake up and you continue in your practice. Okay, so we are not that strict, on these things. Instead, we believe that they will gradually actually disappear, thanks to your enthusiasm to follow the correct practice. Yes, yeah.
I don't know why the hand is up. Maybe I should change. Sorry.
That's fine. Yes, Elaine?
Yeah, when I'm in the secondary object, is we don't need to force, but we need to be mindful that we are in the secondary object. Am I correct?
Yes, 2 rules for secondary object. You should not help it. You should not move to another one. From secondary object, you always go back to your primary object. Otherwise, it's fine. You can stay with it as long as it is interesting. Yes, that should be it.
Thank you.
Any other question? Anything you'd like to know? Seems clear. This is actually, I think, everything I wanted to tell you. Look at that. We did it in basically 1 hour. Very happy about that. No question. Well then, good luck. If you have any concerns, any worries, you can send an email to me. I've already sent you my email address, and I will then help you resolve it. I, however, may not be available. Okay, I'm very busy, so it's much better if you can send an email to Suyatana Myai. Here she's called Metta Meditation Volunteer. Maybe Suya. Everybody has access to us through Viber group. Hema, do you also have access to our Viber group? Yes, you do. Then in Viber group, if you see there some people sending messages, if there is, for example, Suyatana Myai's message, you can click on her name, and immediately your chat with her, your private chat with her opens. And there you can ask her any questions. All right. So she will probably know the answer because she has already followed the long-term retreat, 30-day retreat. But if she doesn't, she will ask me. So no worries. And we have a large course book or large guide, which has about 250 pages that explains these techniques in detail. So, Ma Suyernamyai, do you have access to that book?
Yes, Bandy, I have.
Okay, and we even have it translated to Burmese. So if you don't understand something in the English section, you can follow the Burmese. I'm very much thankful to Manwe Anahlai for her most effortful and amazing translation. And that should be all. Yes, before we leave, I would like to ask the organizer to send the link to the application, to the interview application form. So interview application form is different from application form. Be very careful. Application form you fill only one time before this retreat so that we know what's your name, what's your age, and so on. But then we have interview application form, which you fill 10 minutes before we meet here every single day, and where you fill in information about your meditation practice. If you have some additional questions, if you have some weird experience, all that we want to know there. So you need to follow that link. So Masuyada Namye, can we also have it here in the Zoom chat?
I think I haven't prepared for that yet.
You haven't prepared? I have it, so I will send you the link. Do not worry about the name of the form. That's irrelevant. Important is that you open the form and, oops, not this one. That's not actually the form. Sorry. So please don't use that link. That's not for you. But I will give you the proper link. It should be this one. Please try it out. Yes, that's right. If they're 30-day, but that's no problem. I will easily recognize you from the results. So you can enter there your experience. Only enter your, you only fill this application earliest 10 minutes before our next meeting. Okay, not earlier than that. We want to have there your complete meditation time throughout the day, all of the experiences, interesting experiences, whatever they may be, whatever are the questions and so on. So please fill it only earliest 10 minutes before our next meeting, so that you do not have to fill it 2 times for that meeting. Only 1 time, please. And that's every day. So it would be helpful if you can save this link and keep it available so that you can easily access it every day. Okay, last option. Any questions? Last opportunity to ask. No? Amazing. Thank you everyone for coming. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be successful in everything you do.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much.